Stop. Don't eat it. Are you absolutely sure this is just a harmless meal? These foods may be sitting on your dinner table right now. They might even be your family's favorite. But what no one tells you is this. They could be slowly damaging your cells, weakening your immune system, and silently destroying your family's health day after day. Why are products that look safe being recalled again and again? Why aren't consumers warned in time? And if you're still using them today, what happens next? Hit like, follow this channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss critical food safety alerts. Comment below with the product you're currently using. Let's check it together, because your health is not something to gamble with. Now, let's pull back the curtain. Starting with the first product on this list, we're going to expose what's really inside, what went wrong, what was hidden from consumers, and why these so-called convenient foods may be far more dangerous than you've been led to believe. #7. Great Value Frozen Raw Shrimp. Great Value Frozen Raw Shrimp comes from a brand that millions of Americans associate with affordability and everyday trust. As Walmart's private label brand, Great Value promises one simple thing: decent food at a price that feels safe for families on a budget. When shoppers grab this bag from the freezer, they're not expecting luxury, just reliability. The ingredient list looks harmless enough: raw shrimp, water, and preservatives used to maintain freshness during freezing. No dramatic additives. No alarming warnings. At least, nothing that would stop someone from tossing it into their cart, according to the manufacturer's promise. This shrimp is meant for easy, quick meals, weeknight, stir-fries, shrimp pasta, family dinners that come together in minutes. The unspoken assurance is clear: if you cook it properly, everything will be fine. But what if it isn't? Great Value Frozen Raw Shrimp was recalled due to foreign material contamination, a phrase that sounds technical, almost distant. But ask yourself, why were non-food materials anywhere near something meant to be eaten? Why did quality control fail before this product ever reached a family freezer? From a food safety science perspective, foreign material contamination is not a small slip. It suggests equipment failure, poor sanitation, or inadequate inspection protocols. And if those controls failed once, what else might have been missed? Now imagine the real-world scenario. If a parent uses this shrimp for dinner, if a child bites into something that doesn't belong there, if a routine meal turns into panic, choking, or an emergency room visit, are these extreme cases, or exactly the risks recalls are meant to prevent? The consequences can be immediate and serious. Choking hazards, internal injuries, dental damage, and medical intervention that no budget brand can offset. Saving money at checkout means very little when the cost shows up later in pain and fear. So here's the bitter irony. A product sold under the banner of Great Value became a reminder that cheap food is never cheap when safety breaks down. And as we move on to the next product, one question lingers. If this happened with a brand built on everyday trust, what happens when the label looks even more premium? #6. Kirkland Signature Frozen Raw Shrimp. Kirkland Signature Frozen Raw Shrimp comes wrapped in a level of trust few brands can claim. As Costco's flagship private label, Kirkland Signature represents bulk value with premium standards. When shoppers choose this shrimp, they aren't just buying seafood, they're buying confidence in sourcing, oversight, and quality control. The ingredient list appears clean and reassuring: raw shrimp, water, and processing aids used to preserve texture and freshness during freezing. No unnecessary additives. No red flags. On the surface, it looks like exactly what a top-tier private label should be. The promise is clear. Kirkland markets this shrimp as ideal for healthy home cooking, grilled dishes, quick sautés, meal prep for busy families. The unspoken assumption is powerful. If you buy Kirkland, someone else has already done the worrying for you. But what if that assumption is wrong? Kirkland Signature Frozen Raw Shrimp was recalled due to Listeria contamination traced back to a supplier. That detail raises an uncomfortable question. Why was a pathogen known for surviving cold environments allowed into the supply chain at all? And more importantly, why wasn't it caught before reaching consumers? From a scientific standpoint, Listeria monocytogenes is especially dangerous because freezing doesn't kill it. It can linger, invisible, waiting. If someone uses this shrimp for a family dinner, If a pregnant woman prepares it believing it's safe, if an elderly person eats it trusting the brand name, are they protected by the label or exposed by it? Listeria infections can lead to bloodstream infections, neurological damage, miscarriages, stillbirths, and even death. This isn't a stomachache. It's a life-altering outcome tied to failures in supplier verification, environmental monitoring, and preventive controls. So the irony cuts deep. A product sold as premium, safe, and reliable became dangerous not because consumers handled it wrong, but because trust traveled further than safety checks. And as we move toward the next product, the tension sharpens. Because if contamination can slip through a brand this respected, what does that say about the rest of the freezer aisle? #5. Aquastar Frozen Raw Shrimp. Aquastar Frozen Raw Shrimp comes from a brand that speaks fluently in the language of responsibility. Aquastar markets itself as a seafood company committed to sustainability, traceability, and ethical sourcing. When consumers see this name, they're meant to feel reassured like they're making a smarter, cleaner choice. The ingredient list appears simple and unthreatening. Raw shrimp, water, and processing aids used to maintain quality and texture during freezing. No dramatic additives. No obvious warning signs. Just seafood, frozen and ready. The promise is health and ease. Aquastar promotes these shrimp as a lean, high-protein option for quick meals, meal prep, and wholesome family cooking. The implication is subtle, but powerful. If you care about what you eat and where it comes from, this is the brand for you. But what if that story is only half true? Aquastar Frozen Raw Shrimp was recalled after testing revealed coliform bacteria, a red flag in food safety science. Coliforms themselves are not the headline threat, but why were they there at all? Why did sanitation controls fail in an environment that claims high standards? And if indicator bacteria made it into the product, what else might have slipped through unnoticed? Now, consider the hypothetical. If someone uses this shrimp for a healthy dinner, if a child eats it after a long day at school, if an immunocompromised person trusts the brand's ethical image, are they benefiting from sustainability or paying the price for poor hygiene? Coliform contamination points to inadequate water quality, insufficient equipment sanitation, or breakdowns in employee hygiene protocols. The consequences can include severe gastrointestinal illness, dehydration, and secondary infections outcomes that directly contradict the product's health-forward messaging. The irony is unmistakable. A brand built on responsibility stumbled over the most basic requirement of all: cleanliness. And as we move to the next product, the pattern becomes harder to ignore, because when even ethical seafood fails basic sanitation tests, the real question isn't which brand to trust, but how many more are waiting to be exposed. #4. Seaquest Frozen Raw Shrimp. Seaquest Frozen Raw Shrimp is a brand that rarely attracts attention, and that may be exactly why it feels safe. Seaquest doesn't shout premium or organic. It simply sits in the freezer aisle, quietly presenting itself as a standard, dependable seafood option. For many consumers, that low profile translates into trust. The ingredient list appears routine: raw shrimp, water, and processing agents used to preserve freshness and texture during freezing. Nothing unusual, nothing that would raise suspicion. Just frozen shrimp ready to be cooked. According to the manufacturer's promise, Seaquest shrimp is designed for quick, reliable meals. Stir-fries, soups, shrimp tacos, easy family dinners after a long day. The assumption is familiar. If it's widely sold and properly frozen, it must be safe. But why did that assumption fail? Seaquest Frozen Raw Shrimp was recalled after confirmed Salmonella contamination, a pathogen that does not belong anywhere near food production. From a scientific and food safety perspective, Salmonella contamination points to serious breakdowns in sanitation, cross-contamination controls, and environmental monitoring. This bacteria doesn't appear randomly, it thrives where hygiene systems collapse. Now, imagine the scenario. If someone uses this shrimp, thinking cooking will fix everything. If a child touches raw shrimp before washing their hands. If cross-contamination spreads from the cutting board to the kitchen. Why was the consumer placed in a position to manage risks that should have been eliminated long before the product left the facility? Salmonella survives freezing. It waits. And when exposure happens, the consequences can be severe.
Don't worry, the doctor will be
Fever,
here soon.
violent gastrointestinal illness, dehydration, and hospitalization, especially for children, older adults, and those with weakened immune systems. In some cases, infections can lead to long-term complications affecting joints and internal organs. Here's the irony. A product marketed for convenience ended up demanding medical attention instead. A brand that blended into the background became dangerous precisely because no one thought to question it. And as we move on to the next product, the pace quickens because Sequest wasn't the outlier. It was another warning sign, reminding us that in the frozen seafood aisle, silence doesn't mean safety. It often means oversight failed quietly. #3. Central eats frozen raw shrimp. Central eats frozen raw shrimp comes from a brand that sounds comforting by design. Central Eats suggests everyday meals, central kitchens, food made for the average family, nothing extreme, nothing risky. It's the kind of name that blends into routine grocery shopping without triggering a second thought. The ingredient list looks just as ordinary. Raw shrimp, water, and processing agents used to preserve freshness during freezing. No bold claims, no warning labels, just shrimp, packaged and frozen for convenience. According to the manufacturer's promise, this product is meant to simplify life. Central Eats Shrimp is marketed for fast home-cooking shrimp bowls, pasta dishes, quick sautés after work. The message is subtle but clear. If you're busy, this product has you covered. But why did simple turn into dangerous? Central Eats frozen raw shrimp was recalled after plastic fragments were found mixed directly into the product. That discovery raises an immediate question. How does plastic make it into food without someone noticing? And more importantly, how many steps failed before this shrimp reached consumers' homes? From a food safety and manufacturing standpoint, plastic contamination points to equipment degradation, broken conveyor belts, damaged packaging machinery, or negligent inspection protocols. These are not rare risks, they are well-known hazards that preventive controls are designed to catch. Now imagine the scenario. If someone uses this shrimp for a quick dinner, if a child takes the first bite, if a sharp fragment is swallowed before anyone realizes what's wrong, why should a family meal carry the risk of choking, internal cuts, or emergency surgery? The consequences are not theoretical. Plastic contamination can cause choking, lacerations to the mouth or digestive tract, dental damage, and serious internal injuries that require immediate medical attention. Cooking does nothing to remove plastic. Freezing does nothing to make it safer. Once it's there, the danger is already served. Here's the bitter irony. A product designed for convenience delivered the one thing no kitchen should ever provide: foreign objects disguised as food. And as we move toward the next product, the tension escalates because when contamination isn't microbial but mechanical, it exposes a deeper problem. What happens when the factory itself starts breaking apart inside your meal? #2. Waterfront Bistro frozen raw shrimp. Waterfront Bistro frozen raw shrimp presents itself with an air of refinement. The name alone evokes images of seaside restaurants, white plates, and carefully prepared seafood dishes. Waterfront Bistro positions its shrimp as restaurant quality, an elevated choice for consumers who want something better than ordinary frozen seafood. The ingredient list appears clean and expected. Raw shrimp, water, and processing aids used to preserve freshness and texture during freezing. Nothing excessive. Nothing suspicious. On the surface, it looks like a safe upgrade from generic brands. The promise is unmistakable. Waterfront Bistro markets this shrimp as perfect for home chefs seeking restaurant-style meals. Shrimp scampi, elegant pasta dishes, special dinners that feel indulgent but effortless. The implication is clear. If you choose this brand, you're choosing quality and care. But why did that promise collapse so quickly? Waterfront Bistro frozen raw shrimp was recalled due to Listeria contamination, a pathogen notorious in food safety science for one chilling reason. It thrives in cold environments. Refrigeration doesn't kill it. Freezing doesn't stop it. So why was a bacteria like Listeria allowed anywhere near a product designed to live in a freezer? Now imagine the scenario. If someone uses this shrimp for a romantic dinner, if a pregnant woman trusts the brand's upscale image. If leftovers are stored and reheated without a second thought, why should elegance come with invisible danger? Listeria monocytogenes is among the most dangerous foodborne pathogens. Infection can lead to sepsis, neurological damage, miscarriages, stillbirths, and death, especially among pregnant women, newborns, older adults, and immunocompromised individuals. Its presence points to failures in sanitation, environmental monitoring, and supplier controls, not consumer error. The consequences aren't just physical, they shatter trust. What was sold as refined and safe becomes a reminder that branding cannot compensate for broken safety systems. Here's the irony. A product meant to bring restaurant sophistication into the home instead delivered a risk most professional kitchens work tirelessly to eliminate. And as we move toward the final product, the stakes rise even higher, because if even bistro-quality seafood can harbor silent killers, what happens when the last brand on the list turns out to be the most alarming of all? Hashone. Market: 32 frozen raw shrimp. Waterfront Bistro frozen raw shrimp arrives with a name designed to impress. Waterfront Bistro sounds upscale, curated, and carefully crafted, more like a restaurant menu than a freezer bag label. The brand positions itself as a step above ordinary frozen seafood, appealing to consumers who want quality without stepping into a fine dining kitchen. The ingredient list looks reassuringly simple: raw shrimp, water, and processing aids used to maintain freshness and texture during freezing. No aggressive additives, no obvious red flags. Everything about the label whispers, this is safe. According to the manufacturer, this shrimp is made for restaurant-style meals at home. Shrimp scampi, elegant pasta dishes, special dinners meant to feel indulgent yet effortless. The promise is subtle but powerful. If you choose Waterfront Bistro, you're choosing refinement, care, and higher standards. But why did that promise fall apart? Waterfront Bistro frozen raw shrimp was recalled due to Listeria contamination, a pathogen that food safety experts fear for a very specific reason. Why Listeria? Because unlike many bacteria, it survives and can even thrive in cold environments. Freezers don't kill it. Refrigeration doesn't stop it. So why was a bacteria like this allowed anywhere near a product designed to live frozen? Now consider the scenario. If someone uses this shrimp for a special dinner, if a pregnant woman eats it trusting the brand's elegant image, if leftovers are stored and reheated days later, why should a bistro-quality meal carry a risk that hospitals recognize as life-threatening? From a scientific and regulatory perspective, Listeria contamination points to failures in sanitation, environmental monitoring, and supplier oversight. This isn't about improper cooking at home, it's about breakdowns long before the product ever reached a shopping cart. The consequences can be devastating. Listeriosis can cause bloodstream infections, neurological damage, miscarriages, stillbirths, and death, especially among pregnant women, newborns, the elderly, and immunocompromised individuals. Here's the irony. A product sold as refined and elevated delivered a danger so serious that no plating or branding could hide it. After uncovering the troubling realities behind frozen shrimp recalls, the real question is no longer who went wrong, but what should we choose instead? Because avoiding risk isn't enough. What truly matters is finding safer, higher quality options that are transparent and trustworthy. And coming up next, we'll take a closer look at 3 frozen shrimp products that meet stronger safety standards, choices that let you enjoy seafood without gambling with your health. 1. Trader Joe's Wild Raw Argentinian Red Shrimp stands out as a top-tier choice for consumers who want both flavor and safety. Wild caught from the cold, clean waters of Patagonia, these Argentine red shrimp are known for their thick, naturally sweet meat, often compared to lobster in taste and texture. They're flash frozen shortly after harvest, locking in freshness without relying on heavy processing. What makes this product trustworthy is its transparent sourcing and strong track record. There have been no recent recall reports, and the shrimp contain no added phosphates, meaning you get real texture, not water weight. Chefs and home cooks alike praise its consistent quality. Compared to recalled frozen shrimp linked to bacteria or foreign contaminants, this product benefits from better handling and stricter controls from catch to freezer. The result is simple: cleaner taste, safer meals, and premium quality without gambling on your health. 2. Whole Foods 365 frozen raw shrimp is designed for shoppers who value quality without unnecessary complexity. As Whole Foods' private label line, this shrimp is wild-caught or responsibly sourced, offering a clean, natural flavor and a firm, consistent texture. It's processed with care and contains no added phosphates. So what you taste is real shrimp, not water retention. The reason this product earns trust lies in Whole Foods' stricter sourcing standards and supplier accountability. Unlike many low-cost frozen shrimp linked to bacterial contamination or foreign materials, the 365 line emphasizes clean handling, transparency, and food safety controls. When compared to recalled products associated with Salmonella, Listeria, or sanitation failures, Whole Foods 365 stands apart through better oversight and fewer shortcuts. The benefit is peace of mind. Clean taste, safer preparation, and dependable quality, a smarter choice for families who want to enjoy seafood without unnecessary risk. 3. Wild Fork Foods raw shrimp is positioned as a premium alternative to conventional frozen seafood. Sourced from wild-caught fisheries in the Gulf of Mexico or Argentina, these shrimp are flash frozen immediately after harvest, preserving natural sweetness, firm texture, and peak freshness. The focus is quality first, not mass production. Wild Fork earns trust through its controlled cold chain process and transparent sourcing model. Unlike many low-cost frozen shrimp tied to recalls for bacteria, foreign materials, or sanitation failures, Wild Fork minimizes risk by freezing shrimp at the source and maintaining strict handling standards until delivery. When compared to recalled products that rely on long supply chains and bulk processing, Wild Fork offers shorter exposure windows and tighter quality control. The benefit is clear: restaurant-level freshness, cleaner flavor, and greater food safety confidence, bringing high-quality seafood to your kitchen without compromise. Throughout this investigation, one message becomes impossible to ignore: not all frozen shrimp are created equal. Behind familiar brand names and attractive packaging, we uncovered recalls linked to Salmonella, Listeria, coliform bacteria, and even foreign materials failures that should never reach a consumer's freezer. These are not isolated accidents. They are warning signs of broken safety systems, weak oversight, and shortcuts in the supply chain. The real issue isn't just contamination, it's blind trust. When consumers assume freezing equals safety, dangerous products slip through unnoticed. Freezing does not kill bacteria. Labels do not guarantee cleanliness. And once a product reaches your kitchen, the risk has already traveled too far. The good news is that safer choices do exist. Brands that prioritize wild-caught sourcing, flash freezing, transparent supply chains, and strict quality control consistently deliver better outcomes both in taste and in safety. Choosing higher standards means choosing fewer risks. So here's the advice: read labels carefully, research brands, and avoid the cheapest options when safety is unclear. Food should nourish, not endanger. And in a world of rising recalls, the most powerful protection you have is an informed choice.